What's holding you back from starting or growing your business into what it can be? Well, if you're watching this, it's not a lack of information. What you're about to see is all you need to get motivated to start making waves. Do It For a Living details the journey of today's true players in their own words. Find out how they broke out so you can too. The time is now. The time is always now. Welcome to another episode of the Do It For a Living podcast. I'm Kevin Dubois. We have the co-host Richard Fielder here. And today we've got a returning guest, Zach Denney from ECU Master. And now he's got two new companies, Verkline and Delta ABS. And so Zach last interviewed with us 9 years ago. So Zach, how have you been?
Been busy, yes. My company is Wholesale Horsepower.
Okay.
So, but I distribute all three brands and,
Sure.
and then WHP products we make to support the ECU Master brand. But yeah, like lots of growth, new adventures and new products. So it's been, it's a whole different thing now than it was. You know, I didn't have any employees last time we spoke.
Yep.
And I was, I think, living in the shop in like a spare office because I couldn't afford an apartment and the business location at that time. So yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, and back then, I mean, you were in Denton and you're still in Denton, right?
No, back then I probably had just moved to Dallas. Maybe I could have been still operating it out of an apartment at that point.
Okay.
Because I had like a 2-bedroom apartment and 1 bedroom was the business. And
Yep.
I'd use my brother-in-law's business location for all the deliveries in Arlington. That was our official commercial address.
Yep.
And then, yeah, shortly after that, or that around that time, I would have got the business location in Garland and then realized I couldn't afford the apartment and the business location. So I just like slept in an office till I realized that was awful. And
Okay.
then like found a way to make enough money to have an apartment to go sleep and not feel like I was working 24 hours a day. Yeah.
And before we get too far into this, first give us a quick minute overview of what the three companies are, just so everybody knows before we talk about them.
Yeah, so I brought a kind of a full suite of ECU Master electronics here. So ECU Master does dash displays, engine management, so power distribution, solid state battery isolators, data analysis, data logging, predictive lap timing. I mean, basically everything in the race car.
Yep.
And for that's, we've even got port injection, gas direct injection, diesel direct injection now coming Q1 of 2026. And then Verkline does tubular subframes made out of a super special alloy, billet uprights, control arms, changes the kinematics of a race car, sheds weight,
Okay.
all those things, gives you all the adjustment. And then Delta ABS is a standalone motorsport ABS system. So it's kind of everything in a box, and you can add motorsport ABS to any car for under $5,000.
Okay, so now that we understand what you are dealing with here, kind of walk us through the growth over the years, like going from just yourself, living in your shop, or just kind of, I guess the term is going to be like bootstrapping everything, right?
Yeah.
So how has it gone, and kind of give us a breakdown of how things grew for you?
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game to hire somebody and to work with somebody. It's one employee's you're not really a manager at that point. You're kind of a coworker, and then transitioning out of, I guess, being a coworker, more a managerial role is very different to me because I had to realize that I don't have to be the one to do things I don't want to be, right? I need, if it's a task that I can give somebody a good set of instructions or a good baseline for, it's been very different. But yeah, I mean, going from doing everything myself and always being on call 24/7, having to build the brand and manage crises when somebody couldn't get something to work at 9 p.m. on a Friday because we didn't have any dealers knew anything at that point.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot less stressful now. It's just different stresses, but it's a lot more momentum now for sure. We'll put it that way.
Okay, and how many people are on your team now?
I have 5 full-time, and then we outsource social media and like targeted ad spend management. That's done by an agency we work with. It's smaller agency, but he's really tied in with our industry, the guy who runs it. So yeah, so it's 6 of us here locally, and then a couple of guys that work.
So these support roles, warehouse workers, what kind of roles are they?
We all still kind of wear several hats. No, we do. I mean, it's
You're the
to.
janitor and the CEO.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think I wipe down the bathroom more than anyone. Maybe I just have higher standards.
I literally just did that today too. I've also got to be the plumber because the toilet is broken too.
Nice. But yeah, but I think it's a fun spot now where we all get to help each other and learn new things. And most of my guys, I say really all my guys enjoy learning things, which is I wish I could hire for that or put that on a resume, but they're always happy to take on a new task or help somebody else with something if they can learn something. But yeah, but we do have some division of roles. I have, Chris has been running tech support for me for years. He's helping with a lot of product development for plug and play adapters, CAN bus reverse engineering, doing base maps. Petri is newer with us. He's degreed electrical engineer, and he's doing a lot of the plug and play adapter design. And then have another Chris who does marketing, and then Caleb who really does a lot of the purchasing and internal sales stuff, and then Seneca who's doing order fulfillment. Caleb helps with some of that. So everybody kind of jumps around a little bit here and there, but those roles are kind of dividing out pretty nicely.
To tie into the previous podcast, we interviewed the UNT FSAE team. Now you were on that team.
I was on the first one, yes.
Oh, so the original, okay.
Yeah.
And
OG.
Yeah, but certainly like we've had them, like they've used our dyno, and but that's again, like when I had an internship at Peterbilt, and our lead, the chief engineer of Peterbilt loved hiring Formula SAE students. I mean, he's like, they've already seen a whole project start to finish, puts them 3 years ahead of anyone. And generally, if you can put tools on a bolt, you're a lot more useful than somebody who's only been in a textbook. So, certainly, like everybody's an enthusiast.
Okay.
And that's, I think, critical because it's an industry built around that. Like, you have to love it.
Yeah, there's no training for what we do.
No.
Well, there's not.
The passion.
And also, like, none of us are really getting wealthy.
No.
You'll never be.
So, I mean, like, but you better.
We can dream,
like,
though, right?
Exactly.
Right. But, like, you should enjoy your coworkers. You should enjoy what you do. And, like, it should be fun adjacent, even if it's not always fun what we're doing. But it just helps. And like, generally dealing with pretty enthusiastic customers. Sometimes you're seeing them at their worst because they want to blame the black box because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But we can usually talk them off that ledge and get them sorted out pretty quickly.
Okay. You started as a one-man distributor.
Yeah.
Are you still distributing? I mean, do you do any of the manufacturing at all? Is it just strictly what the kind of the ECU Master USA from Poland sends to the States, or rather you import to the States?
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't do any of their manufacturing, but the whole WHP lineup is stuff that we make stateside. So that's all of our plug and play adapters, dash mounts, dash kits. We've got plug and plays for most side-by-side models now, and it's really trick because you just unbolt the stock ECU, bolt the adapter in place, new ECU bolts on top. It's all factory fitment. We use 3D scanning and a lot of 3D printing and nylon and really tough materials, and we fully pot the adapters. So we're doing a substantial amount of manufacturing in-house, but it's usually plug and play stuff, sensor kits, accessories.
So connectors,
mounts.
pigtails, that sort of thing.
More involved in that, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to like distributing, in the U.S., right? So obviously you're importing stuff.
Yep.
That has been probably a nightmare for the last 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's you're a criminal at this point.
Exactly.
Importing anything.
Well,
How dare you?
Yeah.
We can start with COVID. So 5 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Basically, when the world shut down, the biggest problem was chips, right? So all the manufacturers for every OE car you could possibly think of had supply chain problems with computer chips.
Yeah.
You sell computers.
Right. That's fun, isn't it? So luckily the guys in Poland, their start to finish production process happens in-house.
Oh,
The only thing they don't make on site, I think the housings are machined elsewhere, and the actual bare boards themselves, because there's like two people in the world that can do 8-layer boards.
Okay.
Which is insane that they're 8 layers. That's like not motorsport. That's like defense level stuff. And so, basically the raw boards come in the enclosures and all the components, and they have their PCB assembly line in-house, and then they leave as a fully tested, complete manufactured product, like all within their walls.
Okay.
There's no outsourcing. And so that helped because, again, you just go upstairs and talk to the engineers. Logistics can go have a coffee with the guys, say, hey, what are we out of this week? So if they needed to change the board to use a different form factor, resistor, capacitor, something that's not the size of the component isn't critical, but the value is.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't get it. So they just redesigned the board if they had to.
Okay.
And then, fully test it. But, they had to get pretty crafty about getting what they could get.
So you weren't out of stock for like a year like some of the people were, right?
Some things were harder to get, but it wasn't the end of the world. But our sales, I think we doubled in 2020 because everybody, the government gave them 2 race car checks.
Yeah.
And then basically said you're working from home, which means I'm going to go out and drink beer and play with the race car.
Yeah.
And Zoom my friends.
Yeah,
and,
we got some Trump bucks too, and I used them for building a woodworking shop in my house.
Exactly. But it's like, if you give people stipend checks to go work on the race car in the garage and be at work, they're going to do that.
I think our shop, the Evolution Dynamics, that was the best year we've ever had.
Yeah.
And it was, it's weird is because we were considered essential work, right?
Correct.
But I'm self-employed anyway, so it's like nobody could tell me not to work.
Right.
And so I just ride my bike to work and on the middle of the road when there's no cars and work by myself here, and people would drop cars off when I wasn't around, so it wasn't a big deal, and I could send them, a payment request remotely, so it was like I could work on cars all day long and never had a problem.
We had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But at that point, we had 2 adjacent suites, and I said, look, guys, we have to work 3 shifts, 1 person on each side, so it's 2 separate. There was a wall between them, right? It's like, if we have to do that to appease the government, we'll keep working if the money's coming in.
Yep.
But yeah, I think my overhead was so low. Then my whole rent was like $3,000.
Okay.
And payroll was, I only had, I think, two and a half guys at that point. And like, yeah, I don't think I've ever made more money than that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Because our overhead was so low, I was like, hey guys, like we have like, I've got your payroll covered for the entire rest of the year. So no matter what happens, like
You're good.
We're good. So
Right.
yeah, just your job security is not an issue at this point.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So that was COVID. Now, obviously this year's been different, right? So
Yeah.
different challenges. So how have the tariffs affected you?
So they're not applied. Well, at first they changed week to week.
Yeah.
And so
There's
I'm
no
like,
direction.
cool,
There's wheels
like,
off.
I don't know what stuff costs.
Right.
And if I sell something before it's here, then I don't know if I'm making money or losing money when it gets here. So that was a joy. I mean, our sales were up quite a bit this year percentage wise, but I don't think we've made any more money just because of the unpredictability. And then the tariffs aren't applied the same way every shipment. And so it's just been a nightmare to navigate. And then like fighting any of that, if you have to go back and say, hey, you calculated this wrong,
Good luck.
wait 6 months and they might give you your money in a year and a half. And so, but it's just delayed. It's been harder to get stuff in quickly because everybody fired everyone. Every shipping company has been laying people off. UPS,
They think
DHL.
AI is going to do it all, or what is the deal?
I don't know what there's I think a FedEx hub nearby that's laying off like
The whole thing's closing.
several hundred people.
800 people, I think.
Yeah, I'm like, where are they going? Like this, we're shipping more stuff, not less.
And it's Christmas time. Like usually they're hiring 100,000 temporary workers.
Well,
right?
I think they're laying them off like next year for that
okay,
hub.
okay.
But certainly like we don't have a UPS rep anymore. They just laid them all off.
Okay.
I'm like, cool. So how do we negotiate rates or get help with something? So one of my guys got on LinkedIn and found the email address of like every VP in UPS and just spammed their inboxes. And I think the record response is like under 3 minutes, like a very angry email to some underling that says, hey, I need this handled right now.
Yeah.
I was like, we found the magic button.
Keep pressing it.
But it's taken like a lot of creativity just to get stuff in at a reasonable like application of the actual tariff. And then maintaining inventory is just, everything takes longer to get here. So
Sure.
it gets expensive. Like we sell a lot of product and that's, not tens of thousands of dollars to have a couple of extra weeks of inventory. That's 6-figure adjustment. So it's been a little interesting.
So not only does it add cost and variability to it, but like the actual shipping time is longer too, huh?
Right. And so if it spends an extra week and a half, 2 weeks in shipping, that's stuff I can't sell that I have to pay for. Right.
Yep.
So that's a lot of cash just tied up.
You get them stuck at customs and all that too.
Oh yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And it's, you watch a couple $100,000 worth of product just sit there and I'm like, cool, who's watching this? Like, is anybody looking after this stuff? Like, are we going to get it?
Walking away.
Yeah. So at a certain point, like I almost started flying employees back and forth from Poland.
Just
With
hand
stuff
carrying
in
it
their
on
bag.
planes.
Just hand carrying like extra bags.
With a bunch of ECUs in them, huh?
I'm like, like they're not that big.
Yeah.
Like you
Now-
can bring in,
Now, does that, you still have to pay tariffs on that when you do?
you do. And I don't know if they would calculate them correctly. at the
But you
airport.
get around the shipping part of it because you're shipping it with you, right?
Great, and they're not going to hold you up. Like they're going to like shuffle you through right then and there. If
Okay.
you have your tariff codes pulled up, but like they can't hold you at the airport because your stuff isn't cleared.
Okay.
So it would be like instant clearance because you're doing it through the airport. So
That's
that,
right.
that was my last resort. And thankfully, we didn't have to go that far.
Okay.
But I was about to have like mules shipping ECUs from Poland. I was like,
It's like I heard about Apple did this. They like right before the tariffs kicked in, they like shipped like several 747s filled with iPads
Yes.
from China to here,
Yeah.
so they could beat the tariffs on probably
and we
billions
tried to
of
do that
dollars
with,
and
with
stuff
some stuff. We brought in a few $100,000 worth of product just
to beat the craziness.
to make sure we had enough stuff because we didn't know like one the cost and two how long stuff was going to be
Sure.
held up
Right.
as everything went to.
Because initially some of it was like 100% tariffs, right? And then then they quickly cut it back to like reasonable. I mean, it's still high, but
And
it's
granted, like this is Poland. Like we're helping them fight to protect our border.
Yeah. Right.
I was like, this isn't somebody that we're on bad terms with. Right. And if we're getting hit with 15% on them, like, well, how much are we punishing people we don't like?
Right.
Yeah, it's insane. So
okay. So the communications and time zone stuff, how does that work out with? I mean, what are they like? Probably 5 or 6 hours difference.
yeah. So if I want to talk to the guys in Poland, luckily, like if I need to deal with Jacob, he's a night owl. I think a lot of these guys with their programmer mentality, they need the wee quiet hours of the night to get work done.
Yeah.
When things are still. So he's usually available, but no, my guys generally communicate with the guys in Poland. A couple of them are night owls. Like one of the engineers there will work. He'll show up to work around 11 and work to 8 or 9 at night, whatever. Like, he shifts his schedule way late and it works great for us because he's there when we are.
Yeah.
So the communication there is pretty easy.
Okay. And then you obviously work really close with these guys.
Yes.
Have you influenced like product development? You kind of tell them the direction that your market's going versus what they see. And I mean, obviously Poland, the domestic market is not Ford, Chevy,
No.
Dodge,
Side by
right?
side.
It's four
And side by
cylinders.
side.
Yeah, it's four-cylinder everything over there.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a reason the Pro 16 that's sitting over here has 10 high current ignition drivers. That's because I said, hey,
Put it on a Viper?
If it doesn't work on a Viper, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And so then they later, like, they added in the software, you can run 12 smart coils sequentially because they're a bunch of E12 guys.
Okay.
So you can run 12 smart coils or 10 high current coils directly from it, which is kind of unique hardware. But yeah, so I've had the ability to push them a little bit, and it took a long time to get an ECU that had enough injector outputs to go after like bigger motors. We're finally we're working on all the harnessing stuff for that. That's
Okay.
our big initiative for this next probably year and a half is releasing full engine harnesses for
Going after like the Lamborghini Audi stuff or what?
no, just V8 guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have we're actively developing an LS harness. It should be out early this next year, and then we'll do the LT and then Coyote and Hemi.
Okay.
And I want to do the Hurricane inline 6 that Dodge has.
Uh-huh.
That one's a really cool
the new
motor.
one. They just came out with that one, right? It's a new
Yeah,
one. Okay.
it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And that's a neat one that. And then we're working on 8 HP control for the Autotrans integration there over CAN bus, and or you can use Turbolamic. We work pretty closely with them. That's a great solution. But yeah, the trans stuff and DI is like the level of complexity and all this stuff is getting a little out of hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can still just buy one box and it can work on a slew of different cars.
100%,
Right.
yeah.
You can put it on a 4-cylinder or 3-cylinder or whatever you might want, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's really open ended. I wish people kind of understood like what you can actually. We've had people do some really wacky stuff, and it's fun to work with those guys. 'Cause they're like,
Yeah.
hey, like, can I use this as a workaround? And they do clever stuff to make things happen on kind of oddball applications.
I've got some awesome questions related to that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to ask the same thing.
Okay, and then I really want to talk about how you deal your products. So, like,
Yeah.
obviously, you do some retail side,
Yep.
and then you must have a wholesale, or are you doing like a dealer network, or how do you distribute or sell your product to your customers?
From day one, nobody was going to push the product if I didn't.
Sure.
So I never locked myself out of doing retail sales. Right?
Sure.
If all the hard tech questions come to me anyway, and I've done the advertising, I've done the sales,
wanna make
I've
the
done
money
all the
on
tech
it, right?
support, I can't do all that work and not get paid for it.
Okay.
We do have really great dealers, and our best dealers are the ones doing a lot of installation work, right? Because that's great. Like the box goes away, we don't really hear much from them, and the customer's happy, we're happy, the dealer's happy. Like that's like the ideal. If I could like build my ideal dealer network, would be guys that all have like good performance shops and just install the stuff, and the customer ends up super stoked on it.
Yeah.
We obviously do a lot with online retailers too, but they don't add as much value as an installer does.
Yeah, and I would say that obviously being a shop myself, or me and Richard here, being able to support a product like that is easier for us because we specialize in it, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we can support it. And what ends up happening is if somebody pays somebody to tune a car, especially on a standalone, they're almost tied to the person that tuned it.
Correct.
Right? So
That's why we don't do tuning.
because then you'd have to maintain it all the time, right?
Well, you know, my dome light doesn't work anymore. Like the craziest case I've ever had is somebody we sold him a plug and play for like an IS 300. He's like, man, ever since I put in this ECU, my door chime doesn't work right, or it's like ringing all the time. I'm like, what? That has to be it has to be bullshit. Like that can't be real. And sure enough, he was right. There's like some circuit that like the door chime was tied into the ECU. So I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And we also caught it on the Razor, the Turbo R and the Pro R. I was like, Chris was like dialing in the base map. I was like, hey, only one brake light's working. Did you touch the brake lights? He's like, no. He's like, I haven't touched that harness. Like, I was like, what? And he's like, oh, there was one pin on the ECU that like, I thought it was a typo, and turns out there's two outputs for the brake lights from the ECU.
Okay.
One for each side. I guess if you wanted to add turn signals to make it street legal for some states. And I was like, I would have told somebody they were nuts. It's like, ever since I put your ECU in, one of my brake lights doesn't work.
Yeah.
But like, luckily we caught that in house. But yeah, there's so much weird stuff that could happen.
Wonderful.
So in 2016, you were excited about the EMU Black.
Yeah.
What's your current flagship you have?
The EMU Pro.
Okay.
Yeah. So that came out two and a half years ago, probably. And the Black actually just got V3 firmware, like clean sheet firmware, because you kept adding features, right? It gets clumsy and bulky at a certain point. So basically, Jacob, that's like the last project he did a lot of the code on, was the EMU Black, and he basically did a clean sheet firmware for the Black. So it kind of got like a new lease on life just a few months ago. So that's kind of refreshed. But the EMU Pro is our flagship right now. And then adding direct injection for gas and diesel is a big deal for that one. That's been a whole different learning curve and will continue to be as we
Can you update old EMU blacks with the new firmware?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's totally free. Like we've never charged anybody for a feature unlock or firmware update. Like it's the business model doesn't hinge on that, which is nice because it helps with brand loyalty if they get new cool stuff for no dollars.
New features already included.
It's a little harder with V3 because like the trigger encoding and the firing order, like you have to set all that up again from scratch. And so it's a little bit of work. People think they can just like dump it over like it is a clean sheet firmware, but there's a kind of a migration tool, but it's a little bit of work, but it's a neat upgrade.
Can you walk through the rest of your product line? What
what do you got up
PDUs
there?
and some of your other samples you got here?
Yeah, I think the smallest one in front, that's one of our solid state battery isolators. So we've had those for a couple of years. We've got 3 variants of that. They're all the same current capacity, just different connectors. Some have the Radlock quick connect posts on them, and some have the Auto Sport connector for the CAN bus and the switching. And then we got the PMU 24 on the far end, I think, which is our newest power management unit, and like obviously 24 output channels, which having the jump from 16 to 24 was a big help.
The all digital analog mixtures.
Solid state relays.
Those are all solid state
relays.
Well, not even relays, just solid state outputs.
Okay.
And then there are 16 inputs on that as well. So you can multiplex 8 of those. So you could use it as either an input or an output. We realize that people aren't wiring 16 switches to these things. They're using a CAN bus keypad or, a couple of
Which
buttons
is so
here and
much
there.
easier to
Yes.
do.
It is. And we sell
program them
a
and
full
go.
line.
Yeah.
We've got a really cool one. It's a 5x3 and 2 are rotary encoders.
Yep.
So you can do changes with that. Or we've got I should have brought it. We've got a carbon wireless steering wheel panel. So you don't have to have a curly cord or a clock spring. It's RF and has a receiver.
Oh,
That's
fancy.
cool.
Yeah, it's really trick. And it has like 4 rotary encoders and 8 switches, I think.
Okay.
Has paddle shift inputs as well.
That's cool.
And we've got, this is a Pro 16. The Pro 8 is exactly the same, just missing the D connector. So it just has less IO in the 8. But the 16 will do 16 peak cold injectors, 10 high current coils directly. It'll do 2 lambda sensors directly, 2 drive-by-wire, a couple more H bridges, bunch of like analog and digital inputs. I mean, it's a lot of capacity.
So which one of those is your biggest seller?
Volume-wise, the EMU Black. It's the right price point for most people, right? And we also have the most plug-and-play adapters for it, right?
Okay.
So I think it's partially price point, familiarity, and the number of plug-and-play applications we have. I'm really hoping as we get full harnesses out for the Pro that we're going to see a lot more Pro sales because nobody can afford to have somebody wire in an ECU.
Oh, no,
it's
it's
only
crazy.
on like
It's
super
crazy.
high-end builds.
Race cars.
That's the most expensive piece of it.
And so we're seeing like a lot of off-road guys. We're having a lot of success there with these big, $500,000 trucks. We'll do 2 PMUs, 2 dashes, a Pro 16. Like the cost of the hardware is immaterial at that point because the wiring labor is going to be $25,000 minimum, right? Because it's all DR25 and bulletproof stuff. So we see a lot of that. But yeah, we'll see a lot more Pro sales as we get more plug and play applications for it. It also takes a lot longer to set up from scratch because it is more complex. So if we do a lot of that legwork for people, in fact, today I think we're supposed to release. I don't know if it got released a base map for the B58. The guys in Poland have a BMW B58 on the engine dyno there, and they've got it fully mapped out and working well.
Okay.
And then
that's a very popular car to modify because they can handle a lot of power.
yes, exactly. It's a great motor. The trick is like every car is a nightmare now because all the CAN bus integration. Like getting the motor to run great is one thing, but getting all the functions of the car to work, that's a whole different animal.
Yeah, your door chime, right?
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Your brake lights.
And we've had some help from a couple of people in the industry to get some of the DBC files for like various cars. Somebody has a DBC file they got from somebody, or because reverse engineering, it takes forever.
Yeah.
But we're getting better at it, but it's just tedious work.
That sounds like an AI solution.
I wish.
There's got to be somebody that does that with the AI. You're going to just like plug your AI box into it, and it's going to sniff the whole thing and address it all for you, and presto, right?
I wish. That'd be nice. If somebody builds that tool,
that's
I'll buy
your
it.
billion-dollar product, right?
That's right. Just build that.
Yeah.
So you have a product that did not take off, or failed like you didn't think it would.
I don't think anything's really failed. We haven't had any products. There were some things that just took longer, and then like would come out of nowhere, and people would catch on, and they're kind of sleepers, right? Like the EMU Pro, because a lot of features. It's such a complex product. They kind of like built out complexity as it was out for a little bit, And so I think that one is just going to continue to sell better and better and better as people realize it. And it's a lot more involved. There's a lot more knobs to turn.
Okay. Was it proportional to your marketing strategy for which one's popular and which one's not?
I'm sure, but yeah, it's, it becomes word of mouth and people know the name. Like a lot of people still don't even know the Pro exists, right? Because their buddy has a black and that's, oh, cool, it works in his car, I'll use it.
Yeah.
So I think we just, it needs to reach critical mass. But I think, we found on and on and on that like the more plug and play it is when what's your shop rate right now?
180.
Yeah. So at $180 an hour minimum, right? That's a pretty fair labor rate compared to what I've seen.
Yep.
Like you can't pay somebody for 10 hours to wire in an ECU from scratch.
No.
They won't do it.
A plug and play adapter that's $300-$500 seems like a great deal if they go click,
Yep.
and you start calibrating sensors and doing checks, and then it fires up on the base map and away you go. So, plug and play I think will still be far and away, especially as we do full harnesses. That opens us up to so many more markets of people building resto mods and crawlers and race cars and drag cars and whatever else.
Sure.
So with all the other ECUs on the market, Motec, Haltech, all the other ones, how was yours different?
Yeah, it's hard to differentiate. I think we've made our product accessible to a lot of hobbyists without making it more like a consumer goods type product. I think some of our competitors, they intentionally dumb the product down. I think we've done a good job of making it accessible without intentionally dumbing it down. And obviously we have the Pro that's, some of our competitors use the same firmware for every product they sell. And we clearly have the two lines of products. And I think that works well that we can have, a casual hobbyist who can understand how an engine works. They can get into the black software and figure their way through pretty quickly. And the Pro is a little more intimidating, but a lot more flexible. So I think having those two tiers, we compete with kind of both ends of the market on that. And then we're the only company on the planet that has the breadth of product line that we do, from battery isolators to power distribution. And it's not a slave device. You can use a PMU with anybody else's product.
Oh, okay.
So it's all CAN bus communication.
It's an independent device, right? It's not a slave unit that just runs off the ECU. Okay. And also we're CAN agnostic. We're the only ECU company out there that's super friendly with CAN. Like we don't lock you out of. But we were the young guy. We still are. We're still the up and comer. And so like if we were going to be snobby and try to lock people, like, no, you got to buy our stuff. It's our proprietary CAN. Like, screw yourself. Like it's just CAN bus.
Yeah.
So we've had to do like weird handshakes with a couple of different brands because you have to like pass the serial number over CAN bus. I'm like, come on, guys, this is dumb. Like nobody wants to buy your ecosystem. It's like you might have a great product for one thing, but all of our stuff is agnostic, kind of plays with anything. We've got really slick tools for importing and exporting DBC files for CAN integration. So we just generally make it not suck.
Yep.
And,
That's key.
But a lot of companies, they're just so dead set on locking people into their ecosystem and being like us or nothing. And I'm happy to sell anybody anything. I really am. Like if you already got a product, I'm not going to tell you that ours is going to change your life. Like I'd love to believe that it would, but if you already have something that works, I'm not going to force you to change it just to use one of our other things.
Yeah,
it's silly. So I think, but in terms of capability, like we'll be, one of three companies on the planet, or 3 or 4 companies that does diesel direct injection and then gas direct injection. There's very few that do it in the aftermarket. And then again, having battery isolators and power management and dash displays and wireless keypads, like nobody has as much stuff as we do.
You can just here's your shopping cart of everything you need to get the car going.
Well, it's also why I was excited to take on Delta ABS is just a quick tie in there. Like we've got your ABS control too, right? And it integrates nicely over CAN bus with anybody's stuff as well. But it's kind of a one-stop shop for electronics.
Okay.
So who's your target customer? You got professionals, race teams. I mean, who's your major seller?
All of them, really. Yeah. And really, I've always been like a Toyota guy. And so the JZ platform has done really well for us. We still do a lot of JZ sales, but we're getting more into other markets, the off-road side, like I said. And then, getting into side-by-sides has been super fun. It's a really cool community, very different in the way that works business-wise, that it's not a lot of guys like shopping parts from home. A lot of it's just drop off your rig with a shop that you trust. They're going to put the whole setup in. You get it back turnkey and away you go. Like the automotive space kind of used to be maybe in the 90s where somebody just drop off a check in a car instead of picking every component themselves and bringing you a bunch of shit that doesn't
Bring
work
your Amazon
together.
cart. Here you go.
Yeah. They've got the world's worst turbo and not enough camshaft and a really dodgy fuel system. Have fun.
Right.
Like the one we had just the other day, it like had a big old like Garrett 35R turbo or 30 whatever GT35 whatever on it, and then stock injectors.
Yeah. He likes to party.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Dude, like every time I floor it like breaks up. Well, no kidding, right?
For real?
Yeah. Yeah.
I only want 12 pounds of boost.
But that's it. Like, yeah. So, but every market's been different, but we kind of have something for everybody. And I don't mean that in a corny way that, the EMU Classic is now cheaper than it was in 2014 when I started the business through like economies of scale and exchange rates. It's still under $1,000, and it wasn't when we started out with that. It was a very competent ECU for that price point. But yeah, I really want to explore some new markets again. Like the full harnesses will get us into the drag market. I'm gonna buy a drag car here shortly, and it seems like a really fun market, especially with the drag and drive stuff taking off. That people are getting out and actually like doing cool road trips and working their stuff hard, and not just 5 seconds, 6 seconds A to B. The cars have to be a little bit better rounded.
Yeah,
it's like a whole event too. There's like a week.
Yeah,
people spend doing all these different events. I had a buddy that did that, and he just had all this great time.
Yeah,
all the relationships you have during all of that. It's a great event.
So I've done several drift weeks, and the same deal. Like you're going to break something on the side of the road, or ideally at the track.
Yes,
because everybody's pretty tooled up at the track, and like, but yeah, you're just on your own. But like, America's really pretty when you get outside the city. Like I don't care what state. Like every state's got some really pretty views, and just clearing
except for
your head.
Kansas.
Yeah,
it's pretty flat and corn, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a nice scenic O'Reilly's parking lot there that has a good view of a Cracker Barrel. Yeah, but that's it. It's the camaraderie. It's the friendship. It's not being stuck in an office or a shop. Like just getting out, putting miles on something.
Right.
We forget that we're supposed to drive the things, work on them all the time. So I think for me, what turned me off of drag racing historically was the wrench to drive time ratio. And with drag and drive, you at least get the street cruising to bring it back to better on the
and the
right
whole
side
fun
of
of
it.
caravanning with all your friends.
That's it. You're just being hood rats and driving stuff that shouldn't be street legal.
Exactly.
Yeah,
with your trailer of tires.
Exactly. Yeah, but it just seems like good, honest fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I think like, the money aspect, you can spend a fortune on any segment of racing, but the people enjoying themselves. I mean, the hobby long term, I don't know what it looks like, but there's still seems like a golden era though with the technology we've got and the power you can make with these things that, I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Okay.
So how important is the software interface, and how is yours different than the competition?
Yeah. I think they all have strengths and weaknesses. Some are, people always hate something new. And so they look at it like, oh, I can't find anything. Like, if you spend like 20 minutes clicking through all the menus, like,
unless it's QuickBooks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or Windows.
Like literally every time I go to it, I can't find what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So a certain part of it's just familiarity, right?
Yeah.
People hate something they're not familiar with, and the more you use something, the more you love it. Maybe that's just Stockholm syndrome. But no, the software is laid out pretty easy, especially for the EMU Black. It's very visual, and as you get into like the ADU, PMU, and the Pro, it's more. I don't want to say like austere, but it's way more like technical. You can lay all your panes out, and like you can do formulas and functions, and it's a little deeper. So again, we kind of have like the two aspects of it with the two different product lines that but it has to be user friendly. We've got really great search functions now. The help menus are really fleshed out. They've been improving that dramatically over the past year or two. That was a weakness that we were adding things so quickly. The documentation sometimes it takes a lot of discipline to do that as you're kind of like running with your hair on fire. So that's been a lot of it. And I was telling you guys earlier about a tool they have for the software to do basically AI-backed software translation. So now the software help menus are available in like 9 or 11 languages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which is that's a big deal for somebody. I was in Japan for the Tokyo Auto Salon. Like nobody speaks English in Japan.
Yeah.
Like very few. And somebody that technical, somebody got in a little automotive shop, he's not going to be a great English speaker probably. Even if he is, it's still hard to do technical stuff in a non-native language. So
Right.
A huge percent of our customers speak Spanish too.
Yeah.
Like huge of them. It's very, very popular. So.
yeah, absolutely. And even if you're pretty bilingual, you're going to read and write one of them better. And
Right.
the technical words, you're going to be better in one. So you may as well be able to pick the one you're better at and let an AI tool sort it out.
Right. So we tune a lot of stock ECU cars here.
Yeah.
Compared to these aftermarket ones, what's the learning curve for tuning one of these versus kind of where we currently are?
I think a lot of it's just familiarity. Like if you understand how a stock ECU really works, you understand what knobs you're turning, it's the same with an aftermarket ECU. There's just not anything in the background that you can't see, which is I think the big advantage with a lot of aftermarket
We
stuff.
have the problem with these factory ECUs, right?
Yes.
A lot
We
of
need
stuff you
access to that a
don't
lot
know
of
what's-
times.
You need to adjust something, but you don't have access to it.
Right.
I remember when I worked at ATS Racing before I started distributing ECU Master, and Aaron at ATS is doing ROM tunes on Toyota MR2
Chips,
ECUs.
right? Chip
Yeah,
demo,
but you're taking off like permanent memory and replacing it with a daughter board with rewritable memory. And I think in like 2015 or 16, he was still found a couple of tables. And he wasn't quite sure what they did, but he was still discovering new tables
Right.
in an ECU that was really honestly developed in like 1986. If we consider the full life cycle. So it's kind of terrifying, like how many tables have you poked through and how many more are there in the background that you don't know what they do. And if you do change them, you don't know what effect it has. So I think it's nice seeing like the whole math model and the whole fuel model and having that in front of you with an aftermarket ECU. You kind of like, you can see the start to finish. There's nothing that's going to bite you in the butt. You can add a lot of fail safes, but in terms of understanding it, I think they're probably a little easier because they're not torque based. There's not a lot of like advanced torque modeling, and we do have some torque tables for trans integration, but it's not. I mean, like Dodge has their like neural network on the newer Hellcat stuff. I'm like, what are you,
Trying to do AI
what are you doing, man?
A buzzword? Like, what is this? But this you put in what you get out, and like we explain at least the flow of logic and most of the math in the fuel model, even if like not every detail is done explicitly. But you just have a lot more visibility on what you're actually doing. But just they can both do great things, but definitely for certain applications or power levels, one makes more sense.
Yeah.
So which platform you seeing most demand for? LS, 4-cylinder, side by side?
I think there's some survivor bias because we don't have anything plug and play for LS guys yet.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So like by the numbers, I know that's a gigantic market, but I also we're really focusing on the LT market because nobody's doing an amazing job of that.
Right.
And like cylinder head for cylinder head, those things are nuts, really competent. And all the good used van and U-Haul motors are drying up. And now it's going to be LT stuff that we're getting in junkyards for cheap. So
next year's junkyard truck.
but that's it. But like, I mean, a couple of tests I've seen, basically a heads cam truck motor, the 6.6 liter make like with the DI, make like 680 horsepower on an engine dyno.
It's crazy.
And you're talking like a $5,000 investment max for used motor. Like that's like making that kind of power with anything relatively reliably. Like that's the next frontier or the next big avenue. So, a lot of our customer base, is just based on what we've been selling, the 4 and 6 cylinder stuff. And now I know that the 8 cylinder stuff is bigger in volume. We just have to get the products available for it.
Yeah, I always dream about working on them, and then I'm like, I can't even keep up with the Evo stuff right now. But
And really, there's
so many of them. There's so many of them.
Correct. But if you ever run out of customers, then do it. Like I talked to my friend Brian at Powerhouse. I'm like, are you ever going to like explore another platform? He's like, do we keep finding stuff to make
That's
for
the problem.
Supras?
Yes,
We keep
exactly.
finding more things. People keep buying it. We keep finding it. So it's hard to branch out.
Which is amazing because there's still Supras left to. I mean, they're not all being collected or drag raced to the ground, right?
Or crashed.
But I think it's a unique community that people love modifying them. It doesn't really seem to hinder the value, right? They're not putting tacky body kits on them anymore. But, 1,000 horsepower drivetrain, you kind of expect that in a Supra on the used market, which is disgusting and silly. But now they at least have better power bands with 1,000, not as bad as they used to be.
Right.
A lot of our viewers are shop owners, right? So, like, what kind of advice do you give to shop owners when they're trying to sell your product? What do you kind of advise them towards?
I mean, it really depends on what it is they do, right? And their business model, if it works. Like a lot of shops, they don't have the bandwidth to do standalone stuff.
Sure.
Right? Especially like on a modern platform where flash tuning works great. They're just doing bolt-ons and, heat exchanger here and there and cat back and whatever. Like that's not the market for them. But we're seeing a lot more shops that we work with that are doing, some of our customers, they've never bought a PMU because they don't do any real race car stuff.
Yep.
They're doing all street car stuff. But as far as using our stuff, just find a need for it. Like just match the customer to the product.
And like I can give you our perspective. So, you obviously we know you and we've always wanted to use your product, but like the Evo market around here, we've always just ran with the stock computers because it works so well. But in the last like 2 years, I mean like the stock ECU tunes is like down a cliff and everybody's wanting standalones. What can I do to run like rolling anti-lag and what can I do to the launch control. There's a lot of things that people are looking for that the factory computers either can't do or doesn't do well.
Right.
And the big one for me is drive-by-wire. And so your system works with the drive-by-wire, right? Because it's just like when you modify a factory car a lot and then you're running on a cable throttle body and they don't
with
idle
the world's not best idle valve either.
And then the AC, you're trying to turn it on and every turn the AC on, a car dies. So like that's kind of like the biggest problem for factory computers that we deal with is like getting them to idle and getting them to idle steady
Also,
with
the
AC.
camshafts Evo guys run are
hilarious. Yeah.
Yes.
Like 280 duration is like the starting point for
Right.
some of these guys. Yeah.
And so the Evo 10s don't really have that problem because they already are drive-by-wire. But the 8s and 9s, like everybody who's making big power, it's now a good solution, right?
And also just the fail safes.
Sure.
Like you should be watching your fuel pressure. You should be watching your oil pressure. You should be watching your oil temperature. Even if you don't have a fancy dash, we work with BTI. They make CAN bus gauges where it can be really discreet. It doesn't have to cut up the interior to have like a lot of readouts on that. But I think with the stock ECU, you don't get to add fail safes unless you do it externally with some gauge somehow and expect somebody to watch that. But you can really like customer proof a car a lot with an aftermarket ECU when like. Also, stuff's so fast you can't watch a bunch of gauges.
No.
Like side by side.
I always laugh at that.
On the road?
People want to put 5 gauges on. I'm like, you're going to look at none of them.
No, we
like,
just turboed my Pro R side by side, and it makes 350 at the tire, but 350 always CVT, so it comes up and stays there. Weighs 2,400 pounds, has 30 inches of travel, and it makes, stupid power. Like I can't watch anything in that thing because it's not a flat road, right?
Right.
So basically I need like a big flashing red light and just something to chop throttle.
Give me a different color for what's happening.
That's it. I need like one big red light. The whole dash turns red or something, but just, it needs to handle stuff for me. And I think that's where the stock ECU stuff has a real disadvantage. That you just can't set the fail safes or add sensors or add, there's a lot of stuff that these cars, a lot of the ones we're playing with, we have to go back so far to get something that's easier to work on that then you get low technology compared to what we have now.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so when you are dealing with dealers or other shops, do you have like training that you offer them or how do you go about that?
Yeah. So historically we've done in-person training, at least once a year. I don't even know if we had a course this last year. We were just, again, running with our hair on fire. I'd sent out a dealer announcement recently that it's going to be a requirement now, but it's going to be online. We're going to basically pre-record courses with quizzes after each section. If you get over a certain amount on the quiz you pass, I'll offer them again to retail customers as well, where you pay a few $100s for the course, but if you get over a certain score and you take it seriously and complete it, then that becomes store credit.
Okay.
So you don't spend $1, but I want people to, like, if I gave the information for free, they wouldn't take it seriously.
Sure. Okay.
But I want them to get deep in it. And obviously it costs me a lot of time and money to make the course.
Absolutely.
So if somebody doesn't finish it, then that pays me for my time. If they do finish it, they become a really great customer and advocate and become somebody who can then help their friends and customers. But we're going to take training a lot more seriously, but it needs to be kind of time asynchronous where somebody can watch it on their lunch break or on their iPad at home. Because the in-person stuff just so disruptive.
Have you ever done anything with the HP Academy guys?
Yeah, they've done some stuff with our products. Yeah, so they made some courses on it. I think Evans has done a bunch with our stuff. Who else? Mostly HP Academy and Evans have made courses on our stuff. So those are available to somebody right now. But the problem is the product changes so quickly. Like there's no training out for the EMB Pro right now, aside from written stuff and help menus. It's just we have so many products now. It's so that's it. Like I could spend a week on the PMU, right, or the ADU, and so I need to do that. But it'll be basically I need to record it.
Yeah,
because I don't want to have to give that speech. Well, and really, nobody needs to be in person for an ADU training.
Let me hook you up. So I built this awesome studio here.
There we go.
And it doesn't get used a lot. So if you want to make training, come up here and do it.
Perfect.
Totally free. I got cameras. I got mics. We got everything to do it.
Do you have snacks?
We got water right there. Yeah. We can put chips on top of the fridge if you want.
It's just me talking to a mic and spitting salsa at it the whole time. Just tortilla crunching the whole time. Okay.
So how do you...
What's the opposite of ASMR? Exactly. Can you just stop?
No. This smells like cheese.
So how do your dealers typically buy through you? Are they sending you POs? Do you have like a web portal off the website? How do you handle like orders?
Yeah, I think one or
phone
two
calls?
might still try to send us POs. No, we don't do phone calls. That's
like, too old for you.
You're just holding people hostage at that point. So no, we everybody has a login, and so we have a couple of different tiers of dealer pricing, and they just log into our website and place their order. Some companies they don't have any other method other than sending a PO, and we can process that for them. That's not hard. We'll just make a draft order and send them a link, and they pay for it. We're really encouraging our customers. Again, I'd rather have fewer dealers that take it seriously than just a bunch of online retailers that list everything and know nothing about anything.
That's right. I agree. I am anti just, web drop shipping, e-commerce. If you don't have a shop with you, it's hard for me to take them serious. So.
Well, and the thing is too, like people are going to find our product. If they're looking for it, have you added any value to the brand? And some of our dealers do great, and a lot of their sales guys have our stuff in their cars. They can be great advocates. They can help with basic tech support questions. That's what we want more people to do, is like really know and use and love the product and be useful. If somebody has a quick question, like they should be like answering that question, not us just getting more phone volume to give up half our margin or more to a dealer that hasn't brought much to the table. So just trying to encourage them to keep some inventory on the shelf, especially as things get weird in terms of supply chain, right? The more places we have inventory on the shelf, the better it is for everybody. And like, if you want to capture a sale, if you can see it and it's on the shelf and you can ship it in an hour, like you're going to be in a better position to make that sale.
Yeah. Okay. And this is going to be my MSA pitch.
Yeah.
So you helped me out last time we tried this. So we had inside the software, we had a vendor to vendor, or rather a B2B network.
Yep.
And we have redone that. And
nice.
I just released it.
Very cool.
And it's the best it's ever been. It is awesome. So do you want to list your stuff on there to all the other shops that use our software? I'm gonna put
basically. Does that allow them all to be dealers, or does that just give them access to?
No, they have to request access, and you get to approve them. So there's a certification process there. So many of them may already be your dealer network.
Yeah, probably.
But basically, they can see real-time pricing and have real-time
That'd be great.
Inventory directly in their system. So quoting now, I don't have to go to your website and look up the pricing. It's just all
That's
in my
super
quoting
nice.
system.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's a big struggle now is we have, I don't know, a couple hundred SKUs now.
Yeah,
In the
well,
beginning we
it's-
had like 5.
It's
right?
literally the biggest headache I have right now.
Yeah.
I have several people that have emailed me and say, "Hey, your prices on like your Shopify store are wrong," and I'm like, "You think I have time to go
Yeah.
through like the 25 different brands and the 5,000 products
So-
that are listed on our website? It just takes forever."
That's it. So we're on Shopify now, and so we can export our whole catalog to somebody with Shopify super easily.
Yep.
Everything is it's nice, but if they're not on Shopify, then it becomes a formatting nightmare. And like, eventually I need to move over to like NetSuite or something similar because again, just with the scale of business, as much manufacturing as we do in house, like I hate it because that's gonna be a 6-month process minimum. But then how do we like support our Shopify guys? Once we get to that, we need to like basically have a spit it out the formatting. So that's the business stuff that's not as fun to deal with, but it's important because if we need to make a price change like we had to do this year, I can't do that.
Yep.
It's so much work, not just to get the price sheet out and notify people, but then to not police, but make sure that somebody hasn't just not modified their
Map
pricing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating just because we're all busy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you were using QuickBooks and Thunderbird, I think is what you were using for email?
Thunderbird. Man, it's been a bit. Yeah.
What is your current tech stack or software stack?
Yeah, so we're on Shopify for all the businesses, and that works really well. We've got plugins that kind of patched most of our complaints with it. It's not perfect. I don't know if anything ever will be, but we'll probably have to move to NetSuite for that. Then we'll have to rebuild the web store in that event, all the web stores. For email, we're using Freshdesk. And so that's been great.
Because that does like ticketing, right? Is that the
Yeah.
idea? Right, okay.
And so, one of my friends, I won't name him, but he's always ranting on social media. He's like, you need to email me directly. Don't bother. I was like, dude, there's very simple software that integrates all of your social media platforms and funnels them into a ticket system, and you have one place to look at it.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've done. Like all of our Facebook messages, all of our, I don't know if they could do Instagram DMs. I think it might. Anything, but any customer communication, they can message us on whatever they're comfortable with. We could add WhatsApp if we wanted to, but that way we're looking at one portal and the tickets are signed. We've got metrics there. Everybody has access to what they need to have access to.
Isn't it Freshdesk free too? Or is there a free
They
version?
may have a free one. We pay money for it because I
Okay.
think of the scale we're at, the number of tickets we do.
Sure.
But but that's been really, really nice just because I'm not like, it used to be just like I was panicking, checking 5 different softwares to see if anybody needed help.
We
right?
still have that problem.
Yeah.
So
Phone's dinging all the
he
time.
gets the
Yeah.
Google ones,
Yeah.
the Google like whatever web page or whatever Google has for our like contact us stuff,
Yeah.
and I like never even see them. And he's
Right.
like, "Oh, did you see the one?" I'm like, "I don't even know to look there."
Right. And that's why, like, I have like, all my preset tabs in my in Chrome when it pops up, and like, we have Slack internally for internal communication, and then we use Asana for project management that I'm not as good at using yet, and then,
Asana's part of the Trello network, and we have
is it?
Trello,
Okay.
and it's okay.
it's just, the problem is like business software, like Shopify has done a really good job in making it pretty user friendly.
Yeah.
And I feel like not many other business softwares have done that. And I don't have a shop or else I would use your stuff.
Well,
And
ours is the best.
Yeah.
of course. But you use it enough that if you hate it, your customer's going to hate it too.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I trust people again. Like I have an ECU Master ECU and like basically everything I own. So like I'd be really mad at stuff. I'd deal with frustrations that many times over.
Okay, so what kind of systems have you put in place to kind of like improve the business operations over time? Like obviously you go from 1 man to 5 people. You
Yeah.
have to have put in some like SOPs or anything like that in there, right?
Yeah. So we do have procedures for a lot of things. We basically have a big binder for for work instructions for all the manufacturing stuff to do, all the kitting of products, and 2 sets of eyes go on it and check off. We have 2 sets of initials in every order that goes out. We photograph every order as it goes in the box.
Okay.
So somebody says, "Hey, this thing wasn't in the box."
It came with a brick inside of it or something, right?
Well,
Yeah.
well, they'd be like, "Hey, if I didn't see this, you need to check the box again." And I've done this too. Like you lose it in the packaging, and that way we can at least tell them, like, "Hey, it was in the box when it left here. So if the box was damaged, like we'll figure it out."
Yeah.
But we do a lot of internal testing on our plug and play adapters. We have a high pot tester that spits out a report on every plug and play. When we were first building, and we'd had to check every connection with the multimeter.
Yeah.
You're only checking to make sure it does connect. You're not checking if it's cross-connected to another channel it shouldn't be.
Okay.
So a high pot tester can test all of that within like half a second at 200 volts. And so make sure even if something's close and it's going to arc over, it tests all that. We're going to use that for full engine harnesses once we come out with those as well. We'll test everything internally on our high pot tester because I don't trust the full harnesses we made at an external factory here in North America. But like I don't trust them to put everyone on high pot tester unless I watch them. So we'll do it in house before it goes out. But yeah, I want to make sure everything works before it goes out. That's
Okay.
a big one.
And then your from order receiving to fulfillment, like kind of walk us through the process you have for that. Because like everybody's a little different, and like we're just here for me, at least at my shop, when I'm taking web orders, it's like, okay, I take the order from Shopify, I go put it in a box, and then I go print out the shipping label, and then I tape the box shut, and then FedEx comes once a day and picks it all up. But like, obviously, you got more people involved and a lot more product to sell, so you can't do it that way anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too dissimilar process. My guys kind of know what size box they need to build based on what's in an order, because it's the standard stuff, right? Sensors don't take up any space. They kind of know what size everything is. Yeah. And so generally what they'll do, we finally got one of the fancy paper tape machines. Sure. So basically build the box, tape the bottom, print off the packing slip and the order sheet, and then start gathering the stuff. And if they're going to grab 5 of something, they'll toss it in all the different boxes and then check, make sure everything's there. And we have plastic tubs that we can stack up and have basically like everything corralled in an area as a workflow. So basically, at least start with the packing slip and get all the products in there, then build the box, and then away it goes.
Yeah, what's the 5S process? Is that what it is?
5S,
where you kind of like measure your steps, make sure you're walking minimum, and
we haven't got that far yet. Yeah. It's in a tight enough space that we probably need to expand that room, because we kind of use the back half as a workroom, and we probably need to move that into the shop area. But I'd love to be that lean, but it's no more than like 4 or 5 steps anywhere in that room, so it's not bad.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you're not walking to the back of the warehouse for that.
Yeah, and I've seen some companies lately have gone to they have all their product prepackaged and ready to ship. So if you order more than one product, it's coming in multiple boxes.
And, oh wow!
Well, it's easy for them to put it in a box and have it taped, so they just slap a sticker on it and go. Yeah. But I feel like it costs more in shipping, because you could put 2 things in one box and ship it. But
and plus, a lot of our stuff is like might be small. One Deutsch DT connector. Yeah. You couldn't put that in a big enough box to put a label on it, right? That needs to go in like an envelope or a box. And I'm not going to print 6 labels and then 4 of them get lost by USPS, right? Like I want to have one that's big enough to be insurable, and they're going to take it seriously. Sure. Because usually it's it's ECU and a plug and play adapter and a couple of sensors, and so there's no point in boxing that up in a separate box.
Do you use Shopify's shipping, or do you use something different?
I'd have to check. It depends on the carrier, I think. But I think we found that their rates were like, at the volume we do, like, we're pretty decent. Plus our stuff's tiny, right? Yeah. It's we're not, the bigger stuff is Verkline, and we'll quote that out and get a better deal with rates on that. But I think we're just using Shopify for that.
Okay, so you are using Shopify for shipping.
We might. I think it's actually it's because we're on Shopify Plus with the ECU Master. Yeah. So we're actually using our UPS account for that, for UPS. But it depends on the carrier.
We've started using I was doing it through my UPS account and FedEx account. And when I just switched to just use the built-in Shopify shipping,
it's cheaper.
It's like a quarter of the price. Like everything I ship is like less than $10.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. We're using whichever we've looked at, and we're using whichever one's cheaper. But I think we had a good enough rate with UPS through kind of a sweetheart deal that it was comparable. But some shipping stuff is just insane. Like our GTR subframes with Verkline, they're like UPS oversized, and so it goes from being $120 or whatever, and like it just goes astronomical. Yeah, because it's like an inch too big. I'm like, God damn it! It made the car smaller, because like it's a constraint. Like the mounting points are fixed. There's you cannot make it any smaller than the mounting points.
And is there anything you wish you had figured out sooner? Like anything
everything. That you. So I mean, I actually had this chat with my brother-in-law who helped me start the business, and in the beginning he had 20% equity, and he gave me basically a cash infusion of $40,000 for 20% equity, because we kind of mapped out what we thought we could do for sales first couple of years, and then he let me buy him out for basically nothing later, because he was selling his business, and he was like, I just need this off the books. Okay. And it was super, super nice of him and my sister, but he's like, in hindsight, I wish we would have actually started with more money. And I was like, yeah, me too.
Everybody wants in that same boat.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if we'd started at a bigger scale, we obviously could have grown it a lot faster. I basically had to bootstrap it the whole way. Yep.
It's like I'm in the same boat with MSA. Same boat,
yeah. So I think we could have done more, but I also think that it's been nice to wait until the product had matured more. Like now, like doing full engine harnesses makes sense when I can do 16 injectors on a drag build. Like offering a drag harness wouldn't have made sense. You only had...
It's a one-off thing, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I think that it's kind of, the timing has worked pretty well. And like my skill set as a business owner and I'm, now managing people and hiring people, like I would have been so screwed up if I'd had way more responsibility early on. Like there's a lot of lessons I had to learn. So I think the timing has worked well. I would have loved to make more money earlier, but
yeah, I guess the problems when you do experience them cost a lot less when it's just you and 1 or 2 people, right?
Yeah.
When you make a mistake with 10 people, it's very expensive. Yeah.
Well, certainly, and really, like, there's a lot of stuff we need to do in terms of like the business organization. And I'd like to look at implementing EOS at some point. Had a lot of friends who have really good experiences out when I was in entrepreneurs organization.
Okay.
But it's just a lot of work to do that, to implement.
Okay.
But my friend Matt, who owns Built Right Industries, he's done it and he loves it.
Okay.
But they're they're growing like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
We did him last year.
Oh, did? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
a video podcast. It was
Yeah.
an audio one, but we followed up. That's the third interview I've done with him. And
He's an animal.
oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. His
Yeah.
business is huge now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's been your biggest failure or setback since we last talked?
Oh God, it's been a lot. Yeah, it's 9 years of screw ups.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good one. Definitely made some bad hires.
Okay.
I think that anybody who doesn't work with the company now, like most of them left of their own free will. Right? I'm not like super aggressive with firing people unless one or two instances, but like we haven't had a lot of churn.
Okay.
But yeah, my biggest failure is just, like all the mistakes I've made learning how to manage people. Right. And really, I was so burnt out at a couple of different points that I was just kind of miserable to myself and everyone else. And I was doing all the tech support, all the sales, people blowing me up on the weekend, like never had an ounce of time to myself. I'm trying to like build plug and play adapters on the weekend, living in the shop and trying to make it go. And somebody's blowing me up at 9 p.m. on a Saturday and they like curse me up and down on the internet because I wouldn't take their call. I'm like, dude, I am just getting by.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you understand like how badly I need to just not talk to anyone and get some work done. So I think that, I was just like, it wasn't necessarily a personal failing. It was just a situational failing where I couldn't be a happy person or a nice person with that much going on. And like, I'm well past the point of like, now I can rely on other people enough in the business that I don't have to ever be that stressed out. And nobody has to in the business, right?
Yeah.
We can all carry some workload
Right.
that we don't push anyone past their breaking point, but I've definitely been past it and it's not good. It's not pretty.
What keeps you up at night?
I think long term is just, are people going to keep playing with cars?
Okay.
Right. I'd like to keep doing this for a very long time. And really like, not like an existential problem, but the complexity of every single platform and how much CAN bus integration there is. That's why, again, I want to go to making full engine harnesses because I think a lot of us are realizing that we're going to have a new daily driver. We don't care if it's electric or gas. It's an appliance.
Yeah.
But we're going to have an older project. Like, again, I want to play with the new like Hurricane engine from Dodge, but I'd love to put that in a slant 6 car with an 8 HP. Like, and it could be the worst car. I want the crappiest one I can find with like no door panels, holes in the floor, but
See what it'll do.
A twin turbo inline 6 with 8
Right.
speeds. Like, just go like drive it and it can be awful and not even have windows in it. But like, I just love like kind of crappy old project cars.
Yeah.
But I think so many of us are trying to find a way to put modern tech into older cars and enjoy it. And I think there's a lot of companies doing a great job making parts of that because we're finding that modern stuff is so hard to modify. And some of it's wildly capable, but it's so expensive when stuff breaks. It's so complex. The aftermarket support takes so long to get done. By the time we've got a really great aftermarket standalone solution, the platform's old.
So how do you handle your competition?
Well, some of them just go out of business on their own.
Kind of works itself out?
Yeah, well, like, AEM, like they got bought out by Holley. I think the big goal there was to buy all the EV stuff they've been working on. I think Holley really wanted that. But also AEM had kind of phased out that they just weren't doing as much in the standalone world and they made way more money selling gauges and EV stuff than they did anything else. But
Well, that also follows into the questions we had earlier was like the AEM was a standalone for factory ECU, but it didn't really improve upon the factory ECU. It wasn't drive-by-wire, and I could do just as much with the stock computer, so why would I buy the AEM, right? So,
well, part of it is like they invented the plug-and-play ECU, really.
Yeah.
Like they were the first company that they had the Series 1 and Series 2. Series 1 and Series 2, those
and
were
then
both
the Infinity,
gems.
which was a piece of crap. Yeah.
It had teething issues that they never kind of got through. And I think there was some bad blood because that was, who was it that made that for them? It was a different supplier because Gen 1 and V1 and 2 were GEMS, which is a UK company. And V2 was admittedly, I think, still pretty solid at ECU. And then they just never, like the Infinity just didn't launch the way they wanted and still had some quirks. But I think, again, like we've not been the first to market with really not much of anything, but there's not like, you can do so much better when you're not the first because you can kind of see how it goes. Like, cool, we're not doing that, right? Like, you get some visibility on it. So we do a lot of plug and play stuff. I don't want to make plug-in ECUs. We make a couple, but they're harder to inventory. They're harder to test if somebody does think they have an issue. But I'd rather sell plug and play adapters all day long because they're easy to manufacture, they're easy to inventory. But yeah, as far as our competitors though, like they're all kind of doing their own thing, and like what works for them is great. Two big ones have been bought out either by publicly traded companies or private equity.
Yeah, and then they trash
To
them.
diversify.
And I hope they don't trash them. I hope, because there's a lot of enthusiasts who still work there, right?
Yeah.
But you definitely see, there's been some talent exodus from a couple of them, and a couple of the owners. One of them, I mean, I don't know. I don't keep tabs on all of them, but when the ownership ages out and they're not interested in it anymore, they're going to get sold to somebody who's maybe not going to run it the same way, or a lot of the talent leaves,
Or care.
starts their own thing. Yeah, exactly. So it's been interesting that, it's nice working with a younger company, because Jacob, who founded ECU Master and owns it, he's still racing. He has a TCR car that he runs.
Okay.
And he's a racing enthusiast, loves what he does. He's already sold one company, had a video game design company, sold it because he was just stressed out with all the game launches, didn't like the pressure there. I think he just got burnt out on that. And so this is, we had a conversation last time I was over there, and he's like, I just wanted like a small, quiet, fun thing. He's like, I just really screwed up. Now I got 50 something employees. Which, when I talked to you in 2016, there would have been like 5 people in the company.
Sure.
So we've grown together by huge margins. They've got a gorgeous facility. Initially it was like 10,000 square feet, and then they had plans to expand. So now it's like 20 something thousand square feet. They've got a brand new Yamaha PCB assembly line there.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Half the guys there have PhDs and ladies. Most of the engineers are like Polish karting champions. I mean, it's really cool. Like, I hate it because we'll go like drive go-karts, and I'm just like, not only am I the heaviest, I'm by far the slowest. These guys are just skunking me. But it's cool to see that he's hired people that really genuinely love what they do. They're all enthusiasts. And I think that that's what is going to differentiate us for a very long time, is that, he has no desire to sell, still enjoys what he does. He's got very passionate people that, a lot of them are pretty young. That was their first job out of college, and like, that's their home, and they have great friends there. So I think culturally that, I'm trying to employ, that same culture at my place. Again, like, we can make more money in other industries.
Yeah.
But, it should be, you should enjoy who you work with.
Sure.
So what's next for ECU Master as a company? What products can you talk about that may be coming out soon?
We've got I should have brought it. It was actually packed up for PRI, but we have basically a concept 12-inch display that'll have camera inputs, so you can record like 4 different camera angles.
How big is that one?
That's
8
a 7-inch.
7-inch. Okay,
Yeah.
so a lot bigger.
We have a 5 and a 7, and that one will be a 12. I think the actual screen they want to use, they haven't played with yet. So this one has like big borders. It's a little, but it's just a concept. It's a little bigger than the final form factor will be. But I think that, modern cars have such big screens, the aftermarket needs to kind of keep, offer an option for that. A lot of our competitors have done that already.
Yeah.
We're going to roll out more and more GDI applications. Again, like, it takes months to do a really good job of mapping out a GDI engine from scratch. Our fuel model requires more heavily on the modeling than closed loop corrections, where a lot of our competitors, they just kind of like roll everything into closed loop and rely on trims. And it's much easier to support for the end user if all the stuff, like all the modeling, is done well, and then they can tweak it from there. So it's going to take a little time per engine. We've done LT1, the 3-cylinder, I forgot what they call that motor as a nickname. It's the 3-cylinder 1.5 liter Ford motor. They use in some rallying applications in Europe, and then a lot of cars here, like street stuff. We'll do the LT4 soon. Gen 3 and 4 Coyote is on my short list. The Hurricane motor just seems fun. I don't know if there's any commercial viability there, but it's cool. So if it's not too much work, we'll probably do that one
You
here.
have EcoBoost on your radar?
They've already done the
stuff.
Well, they've done the 3-cylinder EcoBoost already. I forget what that motor is called. And then the 4-cylinder stuff should come soon, I would imagine, because I think that there's a few communities that would love like a lighter weight 4-cylinder motor they can stuff into something that makes 300 or 400 horsepower and a bunch of torque in a little road race car. Like, it's a great combo, and DI is not as scary as it used to be as we get our heads wrapped around a little bit more. So, but the DI stuff is a big one. Diesel direct injection is really cool because these guys are making like 3,000 and 4,000 horsepower.
Ridiculous. They're
It's
ridiculous.
nuts. And
And
some,
the
like-
torque is insane.
Yeah. Oh, and some of them actually figure out how to make them rev. And so the torque numbers are getting easier on the rest of the drive line.
Right.
But triple compound, billet, everything. And I loved watching that community from afar because, first they had to figure out how to get the head to seal.
Right.
And they figured that out. And then it just ripped the whole block in half between the mains and the deck. I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, you no longer have an issue with your studs and your gasket. It's
Right.
the
It's the
tensile
bottom
strength.
half. Yeah.
You literally like exceeded the tensile strength of the block.
Right. It's
But,
insane.
but yeah, a lot of these guys, but they're super, clued in. They're just love racing the hard way. I don't know. I mean, they're spending 3 times as much money to do this stuff.
Yep.
But that's going to be a cool market because the diesel DI drive will support 3 pumps and 8 injectors, and those guys have pumps on pumps on pumps to get that kind of fuel supply, as you'd imagine. So that'll be really fun to see. But again, we won't make any plug and play stuff for that because it's all just like aftermarket drag stuff, pulling and drag racing. So I don't want to work on them, but I want to like support them or pay for them.
So if you can go back to go look at your 2016, since 2016, give yourself a piece of advice, what would it be?
Kind of just stay the course. It was so touch and go, right? You might go a couple of days without any kind of sale, right? Yeah. And you wonder what you're doing with your life when there's like the sales volume was so low. So I realized we had, first it was like, in a month we did what I did my whole first year in sales. Mm-hmm. And then this year, I think we came close on 1 or 2 days of doing in one day what I did in the whole first year of sales and growth. And I was like, okay, but we'll still have a day every once in a while. There's just like 0 orders through the web store. I'm like, is this it? Like, is this
the end?
Is this the end? But it's just so hard to like take that long view and look at like what the future holds instead of saying like looking at everyday sales and panicking.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's just, you really just have to like treat your customers. It sounds corny, but you treat your customers very well, treat your employees very well, do the right thing. And if you offer a product that has value, people are going to find it. Mm-hmm. But certainly, there's tons of things I would change, but I think that I've done enough things right that we've grown pretty well and we have enough momentum to get a lot more things right as we go on.
So what's your daily driver now?
Kind of have a couple. So I have...
Not the 86 MR2?
Yeah.
That's what it was last time.
That one is awesome. I miss that car.
Come back to me.
So I've got so many fond memories of 4AG powered cars. That was a 20-valve 6-speed car, too. That one was really cool. Mm-hmm. So I sold that one on Bring a Trailer and used that money to build my Exo set.
Okay.
That now Brian from Powerhouse Racing owns.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, hey, dude, don't turn up the boost. It's tapped. Turns up the boost first day and windows the block. And then like had another short block in it by the end of the weekend because it's like, stock short block.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Spent like whopping $500 replacing that, I'm sure. But,
was it a Honda engine in that one or a Toyota engine?
This NA Miata. That was an NB Miata
okay.
basis. So yeah, NB motors are not expensive. And you get to all the fasteners from the outside because it's a tube chassis. Like easiest motor swap ever.
With no body.
Exactly. Exactly. So I actually recently just bought another AE86 Corolla. I had one before the MR2. So I found one for a decent deal. But no, the daily driver right now is an IS500. I love big dumb V8s. And I think this is going to be the last opportunity we have to own a naturally aspirated V8. It's an incredible sounding car and like has a CD player still, which feels extraordinarily nostalgic now. I think it may legitimately be the last car on the market with the CD player.
Okay.
Because the GX was holding out. The GX had, and then the GX got updated before the IS500. Still, you can get it with the CD player.
Okay.
From factory. So I think it's the last of a breed. But it's a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. And you can't get that in imports.
Makes me wonder. So you also are big into boats too, right?
Yeah.
So you should be making these things for boats.
Maybe the offshore, like they will spend as much as they can just to brag to their buddies on how much money they spent. And so if you offer something at a fair price point, it almost is a disadvantage at that point.
Just triple the price for the marine version. It's the same thing.
Yeah, just like powder coat it white and charge 5 times as
exactly.
much. Done. But like the boating I'm into, it's wake surfing and engine performance is not a big concern. You're just pulling a big wave around.
Sure.
But stereo stuff would sell better to that market.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite car you've seen your products on?
There's a couple. One that I got to help out with for like 2 seconds. James Dean built a 4-rotor RX-7. I think his first like real drift car was an RX-7.
Okay. Is this an Australian car?
No, he's Irish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they were new to the EMU Pro and his tuners. Like they're looking at it and they're like. I remoted in just to take a look at it. I was like, I think you have the tooth count off because they calculate the tooth count differently on the Pro. I think it's a full 720 cycle, not
360.
Yeah, but it's like different from the EMU Black by a factor. I was like, hey, I think you're just off by a factor 2 on this one thing. And like they'd done all the other work on the mapping and like just changed that. And like I got to hear on the phone over Zoom or whatever, hear it fire up. I was like, oh, that's good. Because it's like a PPRE 4-rotor that makes, 500-600 naturally aspirated into a drift car.
Wickedly loud.
Yeah,
yes.
Right. Yeah. But just, rotary noises are so silly.
They're beautiful.
So that's a good one. What other? There's been some cool stuff. Yeah, so his 4-rotor car. Honestly, his new RTR Mustang that he campaigns in Drift Masters. It's one of the Roush 8s, like real race car. Like it's a something 45, whatever. But it's like I think like a couple of generations ago, NASCAR technology, but they're like 800-900 horsepower naturally aspirated.
Okay, so it's like a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it doesn't, like they live at 9,000 RPM and don't care. That's
Right.
where they're designed to be.
They have a cruise control button.
Right there.
Basically, yeah. But
Throttle lock.
yeah, I think it's pretty mental. But yeah, he did really well in that this season in Drift Masters. That one's cool to watch. Honestly, a lot of off-road stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but like everybody's doing cool stuff. Like people, I wish I had time to build all the stuff that our customers build because they're involved in so much cool stuff.
Yeah.
Just live vicariously.
That's the
all
problem
you
with
can
running
do.
a shop
That's
is
it.
I don't ever get to build anything for myself. It's
I know.
always other people.
That's it.
Exactly.
So I always like when I judge shops when I walk in them. Like the shop car should have some dust on it.
Yeah.
Generally, or
If you have one at all.
But it should be the most dusty car in the shop.
Yes.
Because if there's other dusty cars, that means like you've had some taken on maybe the wrong customer and you're desperate or like didn't manage them properly or
Too many cars. That's our problem.
Yes.
Too many customer cars.
Not enough hours in the day.
yeah. But like having a backlog of work, that's stability.
Our
Right.
biggest problem is they come in for, hey, I just need a tune. And then it comes
Yeah.
in running on 3 cylinders, and then you bore scope it, and now it needs an engine. And they're like, I'm just going to leave it here. I'll see you in 6 months or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Right?
No parking, but okay.
Yeah, it sounds like you need a storage business is what you need.
Pretty much.
We did that, but that's very expensive too.
Yeah,
So,
God.
because then they don't want to pay it, you know? So
Yeah, well, then you need the car dealership to sell the
Sell the
cars you
cars
just got on a
exactly.
mechanics lien.
we just
Yeah.
strip them apart, and that's what I've done a bunch of them. A bunch of Evos. You seize them and disassemble them and get rid of them.
You'd be surprised of the ones that happen that
Almost
way.
one every year.
Oh, this is off topic, but I think one of the Ferrari parts shop, they figured out like they were buying wrecked Ferraris and parting them out. And they realized that some of the Ferraris from the 90s are worth way more as parts than they are as whole cars. And they're buying like pretty nice cars and just selling them.
Tearing them
piece
apart.
Yeah.
I'm like, part of me, like, that makes my heart hurt.
I die inside.
But it's like the Native American, like they're using every part of the animal, right? It's probably reviving like 10 cars, but I'm like, man, that just pains me to take a perfectly good car and sell it as parts. But like, yeah, that just feels dirty.
Okay, Zach, so let's kind of close this out here. How can people find ECU Master and you and get in touch with you?
Yeah, so ECU Master, easy. Any of our social media platforms, like I said, on our ticket system, they all get to us. Just ECU Master USA. We've got a Facebook group for tech support with like 35,000 people in it now. So you can always get questions answered there 24 hours a day, and I don't have to deal with every question now. There's enough community around it, which is great. My tech support guys and my sales guys are in 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday with an hour for lunch, noon to 1 Central Time. And then that's true for all the brands. All the phone lines go to us for Delta ABS, for Verkline. Email us, messages on social media, whatever, it all gets to us.
Okay, awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming and sharing your story again and kind of filling us in how it's been for the last 9 years. And thank you, and hope everything goes well.
Thank you.
And actually, before we end, you will be at PRI?
Yes, come see us. Our booth is kind of at the back. Well, I should know our booth number. If I were a good business owner, I would have the script and memorize it.
But clearly they can look for ECU Master there.
look for ECU Master on the floor plan.
Okay.
There'll
Yeah,
be
'cause
a big ECU Master sign hanging up there.
I believe
so.
we'll have this published before the show. So
Beautiful.
people will hopefully be able to see it before the show. So.
Very good.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Do It For a Living. You can find out more about this guest, this show, and even details about what we just talked about at our website, doitforaliving.net. Check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/doitforaliving, and tell us who you want to hear from. And if you're running a performance or racing shop, check out My Shop Assist at myshopassist.com. We build shop management software specifically for the motorsports industry. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Click subscribe, hit that notification bell. Do it now. Seriously, I'll wait. If you're watching on YouTube, the button's right there. If you're listening on a podcast app, hit subscribe there too. When you subscribe, you help us gain momentum and attract more high-level guests. Thank you for watching, and good luck.